My girlfriend said, I need to focus on me, but I found her secret plans to meet him alone. I stood there, staring at the screen of my phone, barely able to believe what I was seeing. It was a screenshot of a text message thread, and the words hit me like a punch to the gut. Let's meet up this weekend, just the two of us. I'll figure out a way to get out of town for a bit, she had written. I need to focus on me, she had told me just days before, and now this. Her plans to meet up with him, the same guy she had claimed was just a friend, the same guy she told me I had nothing to worry about. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. My heart was pounding in my chest, and my mind was racing in a million directions. I had never been a jealous person, but this felt like betrayal. The pit in my stomach deepened as I scrolled through the rest of the conversation. It wasn't just that they were meeting up. It was the way she talked to him. The ease in her words, the smiley faces, the inside jokes. I felt sick. I wanted to scream, to throw the phone across the room, but I was frozen. Part of me didn't want to believe it. I thought I'd imagined it. Maybe I was reading too much into it. Maybe I was paranoid. I had been trusting. Maybe too trusting. I heard the sound of the door creaking open behind me, and I didn't need to turn around and know it was her. My heart skipped a beat. She was home. My mind snapped back to reality, and suddenly, everything felt too real, too raw. I wasn't ready for this confrontation. Not like this. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I couldn't look away from the screen. Chris. Her voice was tentative, unsure. What's wrong? I finally turned to face her, holding the phone between us like a weapon. The words she had said to me just a few days ago were ringing in my ears. I need to focus on me. And now this proof of everything I had feared. I could feel the anger rising, hot and thick, constricting my chest. What is this? I asked, my voice low, trying to keep it steady. But it cracked. She looked at the phone, her face going pale. She opened her mouth, and I could see the hesitation in her eyes. Chris, she stepped forward, her eyes scanning the screen, and for a moment, I thought I saw a flash of guilt. Then she quickly composed herself, straightening up and shaking her head. No, it's not what you think. I swallowed hard, biting down on the hurt that was threatening to spill over. Not what I think. I repeated, my voice rising now. What? So this is some kind of misunderstanding. You were just telling me you needed space, and now you're planning to meet up with him? To see him alone? She took a step back, her face a mask of uncertainty. Chris, please. No, I shouted, feeling the sting of betrayal hit me again. Don't tell me it's not what I think. You told me you needed space. You told me you were focusing on yourself. And now I'm finding out you're planning to meet him behind my back. Why didn't you just tell me the truth? Why lie to me like this? Tears welled up in her eyes, and she bit her lip, clearly struggling to find the right words. I'm sorry, she whispered, but it was too late. The apology was hollow, empty. It didn't change the fact that she had been lying to me, keeping secrets. And now, it felt like everything we'd been working on, everything we had, was slipping through my fingers. I could see the guilt in her eyes, but it wasn't enough. Not after everything. Sorry. I laughed bitterly. Sorry doesn't fix this. You didn't just lie to me, Amelia. You made plans with him. You're seeing him behind my back, and now I'm the idiot standing here, wondering if any of this was real. She reached for me then, but I stepped back, unable to look at her. The touch I had once craved now felt foreign, like a reminder of everything that had been shattered in an instant. I never wanted to hurt you, Chris. You know that, right? Her voice wavered. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. I didn't know what else to do. She stopped, shaking her head as if she were trying to find a way to make the words come out right. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I've been talking to him for a while now, and things have changed. I clenched my fists at my sides, trying to keep myself from losing control. I had to hear this. I had to know. Change how? My voice was barely a whisper now, as if I were afraid that speaking too loudly might make it all real. How has it changed, Amelia? She bit her lip, hesitating. I don't know, okay? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. She paused, and then, her voice barely above a whisper, she added, I don't know if I'm in love with you anymore. I felt the floor drop out from under me. I staggered backward, hitting the wall behind me for support. The words echoed in my head, replaying over and over again. I don't know if I'm in love with you anymore. It wasn't just the words that cut. It was the truth in them. I saw it in her eyes. It was like a door had opened, and everything we'd built together had crumbled away. She was already moving on. I didn't mean for it to get this complicated, she continued, her voice breaking. I never wanted to hurt you. I needed to figure things out, and I thought I could do that without causing more pain. But I can't keep living this lie. I could feel the tears starting to sting my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. I couldn't break down. Not now. Not in front of her. Not when she was the reason my heart felt like it had been ripped out of my chest. I don't know what to say anymore, Amelia, I muttered, stepping back again, trying to put space between us. You don't get to tell me you need space and then this. I've been asking you for months if something was wrong, and you've been lying to me the whole time. She opened her mouth to say something, but I couldn't listen. I couldn't hear another word from her. I grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair, pulling it on without looking at her. I can't do this. I need to leave. Chris, wait, she started, but I was already walking toward the door. Before I stepped outside, I turned to face her one last time. I don't know what I expected her to say, but in that moment, I realized that nothing she could say would change anything. It was over. I closed the door behind me, the finality of it echoing in my ears. The cold air hit me hard, but it didn't feel like enough to numb the ache in my chest. I didn't know where I was going, but I couldn't stay there. Not when everything had just changed. I had to get out. I had to find a way to breathe again. Part 2. I didn't know where I was going, but the walk felt like the only thing I could do to clear my head. The world outside was blurry in the late evening fog, the streetlights casting long shadows across the sidewalk, but I wasn't really seeing anything. I was moving on autopilot, my legs carrying me without a thought, just trying to get away from the apartment, from her, from the painful, suffocating weight of what she had just said. It's strange, you know, how everything can feel so solid one minute, and then the next, poof, it all comes crashing down. 1 minute, I was living my life, feeling secure in my relationship, and the next minute, I was standing in front of a woman I thought I knew, hearing her tell me she didn't know if she loved me anymore. I had so many questions, but none of them mattered. The biggest question, why, had no answer. I couldn't make sense of it. How had it all gotten here? How had we gone from building a future together, making plans and talking about kids, to this? I had no idea. But one thing was clear. She had already checked out. She'd already found someone else, someone she could give her heart to while I was still standing there, picking up the pieces of mine. I ended up walking for over an hour, just trying to outrun the ache. My phone was buzzing in my pocket, but I didn't bother checking it. Every text from her felt like another stab in the gut, and I wasn't sure if I could take more of her lies, more of her apologetic words that meant nothing at all. At some point, I found myself near the river. I don't know why I ended up there, but something about the water felt calming. I sat on the edge, my feet hanging just above the surface, staring at the ripples. It was quiet, peaceful, almost like a sanctuary in the midst of the chaos in my head. But even the calm didn't last long. I kept thinking about what she'd said, about needing to focus on herself. I thought I was the one who mattered, I kept telling myself. But apparently I wasn't, and that hurt. It wasn't the first time I'd been hurt in a relationship, but this felt like a punch to the gut that I might never recover from. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, feeling the weight of it in my hand. There were 5 missed texts from Amelia. She was probably pacing the apartment, waiting for me to come back, waiting for me to forgive her. I could almost hear her voice in my head, apologizing again, begging for another chance. But I couldn't do it. Not after seeing the message about her meeting him. I opened the first text, and it was exactly what I expected. Please, Chris. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Can we talk? I couldn't help but laugh bitterly to myself. Talk? What was there left to talk about? She had already made her choice. She had already told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't about fixing things anymore. It wasn't about saving our relationship. It was about her letting go of me and moving on. I wasn't in her plans anymore. I deleted the message before I could even type a reply. I didn't want to drag this out. I didn't want to beg her to come back or explain why we were better together. She had already made up her mind. I needed to respect that. I sat there for a few more minutes, my mind spinning. What do I do now? Did I pack my things and leave for good? Did I try to find somewhere to stay tonight? Was I even allowed to feel betrayed? Or was that just part of the mess I'd been dropped into? Part of me didn't want to go back to the apartment, to the place where everything felt wrong. But part of me wanted answers. I needed closure, and I wasn't sure I was going to get it from Amelia. Eventually, I forced myself to stand up. I couldn't sit there forever. I still didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I needed to go home and face it. I needed to make sense of everything, even if that meant asking the hard questions. I didn't take the bus back. I walked, needing the time to think. When I finally reached the apartment, I stood outside for a few moments, staring up at the window. I could see the dim light inside. She was there, probably waiting for me, hoping I'd come back and let her talk her way out of this mess. I wasn't ready for that conversation, but I had to have it. I wasn't going to leave things hanging, because as much as I hated it, I still wanted the answers. I deserved the truth. I opened the door, and the familiar scent of her perfume hit me immediately, a reminder of how things used to be before all of this. Amelia was sitting on the couch, her hands folded in her lap. She looked up when I entered, her eyes red-rimmed from crying, and I could tell she was trying to steady herself, trying to keep the tears at bay. "Chris," she said softly, "I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know what to say." I walked past her, not wanting to look at her just yet. I went to the kitchen, needing something to focus on. I couldn't do this standing there, staring at her face, hearing the same tired excuses. "Amelia, I need you to be honest with me," I said, my voice steady but breaking underneath the words. "How long have you been seeing him? How long has this been going on?" She hesitated before answering, the silence stretching between us. "It wasn't like that at first," she started. "I didn't know what I was feeling. I thought I could handle it. But then things started to change. I started to feel something different." She paused, looking at me like she was trying to gauge my reaction. "And I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to hurt you. I really didn't. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sure what I felt anymore. It was just numb. So you lied to me. You told me you needed space. You told me you needed to focus on yourself. And all the while, you were planning to see him behind my back." My voice cracked on the last word, and I hated myself for sounding so broken. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never wanted you to find out like this. I never wanted to hurt you." But it was too late for apologies. The truth had already been laid bare, and I could see it now. She was already gone. She had moved on, and I was the one left trying to pick up the pieces. I didn't know what happened next. I didn't know if we could fix this or if I even wanted to. But what I did know was that I couldn't stay here anymore, in this limbo between what we were and what she had already chosen. "I need some time," I said, finally looking at her. "I need to figure out what I want. Because right now, I don't even know who I am without you." She nodded, tears running down her cheeks. But it was too little, too late. She had already made her choice, and now it was time for me to make mine. I turned and walked out the door again, this time with no intention of coming back. Not yet, anyway. Not until I could figure out what was left of me.